Hello and welcome to the Top Bin 90 Show, a show all about soccer where we cover MLS, international, and European soccer. Today I have two former Johnson and Wales goalkeepers, Kennedy and Andrew. Boys, how are you today?
I'm good. You know, it's great to be here. Glad you invited me back. That must mean I did something right. You know, it's a good day. It's a good day.
Nice. Kennedy, how about you?
I'm doing good, man. Anytime I get to come talk soccer is honestly a good day. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, all of us love soccer, so I mean that's something that like we're all passionate about. So I feel like sometimes like I kind of joke with people at my job, like people that don't know anything about soccer. I go up to them and say, "Hey, did you catch the France-Croatia game? We got Griezmann playing today, starting," and they're like, "What are you talking about right now?"
They're probably like, "What's a Griezmann?"
Yeah, so awesome. So the first topic I want to get into is a little bit about some international soccer. Did you guys catch any games or anything stuck out to you so far? I know we had a conversation about your boy earlier.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin is the truth.
The truth. That man said the truth. He the truth. I didn't get to catch any games. I saw a couple of the highlights, some of the end results.
Nice.
I didn't get to actually watch the games. I miss.
Okay.
You know, because they're always during the mid-afternoon. I'm working. You know, for my boss who's watching this.
Just quit. And
I'm
watch
totally
the games.
working. I didn't see any of the games.
Honestly, you have no idea how much I've really thought about just like quitting my job and just I could go home and watch soccer. Like right now, you know, I'll be fine. You know, ask me a couple hours later, you know, I might start panicking then. But
yeah, the only thing I dislike about like some of these games is kind of like how Europe does it right now with the competition that they have right now. Like instead of it just having like friendlies, what do they call it now?
Bro, it's like the
Nations League.
Yeah, it says the Nations League.
And I'm like, okay, like 80% of people that I talk to don't even understand what the Nations League is.
Arsene Wenger brought up a good point. Someone asked him about it, and he was like, just get rid of a lot of these competitions. No one knows what the Nations League is. No one could understand it. And to be honest, it's kind of... I feel like it's kind of getting in the way.
It's pointless, yeah.
And
it's getting in the way in the time of COVID.
The time of COVID, players are getting injured. They're getting exhausted. This is not what you need, in my opinion, right now. You know, like you said, with COVID and everything going on.
Yeah, like every country has different restrictions and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, like you're having pointless games that mean nothing in Europe. I understand in CONMEBOL because, like, okay, they're actually playing the qualifications for the World Cup now. Mm-hmm. Like, you got Argentina and Brazil in first place now, you know.
Yeah, for sure. But the Euros is already, like, everybody's been qualified.
Yeah.
It's almost like, it's literally like, it's...
You get scenarios like the one with Ronaldo who has COVID now, and they're like, okay, like, that could have been avoidable, but, I mean, I don't understand the logic behind it, but...
I mean, it is crazy because, you know, every league kind of has, I imagine, different regulations that they have to face COVID. And I mean, right now, I think every player should stay just in the country of their league, just because it's like, obviously, if they hadn't gotten COVID from playing in their league, you know, there's no need to risk it traveling international, where, you know, obviously not everything's sanitized wherever you go. So it's just, I feel like international should definitely be on a break right now.
Yeah.
Well, I do like what the Champions League is doing, though. They told Ronaldo and Portugal, they were like, hey, he can't play unless he tests negative within the week or a week prior. So at least they're taking precautions. They're getting ahead of it.
That's
which is,
true.
You know,
I think, like, with FIFA's all about money, so they're like, okay, if we're not putting this on TV, then, like, no one's watching it, and if no one's watching it, we ain't making any money. So
that's fair.
Yeah,
that
pressure is kind of the double-edged sword of soccer. Even with, like, the Big Six in England now, like, they're pushing an agenda to try to get less teams and less relegations because they'll have more power. So it's kind of sad what FIFA does sometimes.
So speaking of money, did you see the what was it, £15 pay-per-view that they were gonna do, the EPL?
No, I didn't.
Bro, so they were gonna charge £15 per game to stream it, right? And they gave a vote as to who was gonna, you know, who approved, who disapproved.
Yeah.
Leicester City. I was super disappointed. Leicester City was the only team who said that's not a good idea. £15 is like, I think, 19, $20 bucks per game, per match. It's not even for the season, per match, bro.
They're trying to make some money off
bro,
of us. Well, I got like 250 pounds on me, so I'm good.
I thought you... You brought up a good point, though. Everybody's trying to compensate and recover from that massive loss that they took financially from COVID. You know.
I mean, to be honest, if I'm in England or whatever, you know, if I'm gonna spend $15, bro, I want to go support like non-league. Like I want to support
For
the
real, bro.
Yeah, the experience, dude. Like you can get.
And in those leagues,
Like,
you kind of got your boys in them too, like people
exactly.
That you know,
like you'll get a way better experience out of 15-pound at like a non-league or like a League 1 or League 2 match versus a 15-pound pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
how are you going to go from watching something that you already pay a monthly service to watch typically, unless you do the illegal streams, but
Which we don't condone.
what he said.
Yeah.
But
So, yeah, with this international kind of break, it kind of lets me see, okay, like what FIFA and these guys are all about, which is something I really don't like, especially having certain games at this time of the year, you know, and so especially with everything that's going on. So hopefully they can change up some things, and hopefully, like, I just want to see crowds back in the stadiums, bro. Like, it's so different. Like, even watching like games in South America and watching games in like every league, like you can kind of hear what the coaches are saying, and like sometimes they say some funny stuff, but at the same time, it's not like the same when they score and like you hear the crowd, because like you get hyped too.
bro, I've heard so many F-bombs being dropped in the Premier League, and the commentators be like, I'm sorry you had to hear that. It's like I'm a toddler or something. Like, I've never heard the F-bomb drop, but it's just so funny because you can hear them like yell, call for the ball, and in a sense it brings like a new like view to the game that you don't see all the time because it's canceled out by noise. But at the same time,
like, I don't know if you guys watched the Lakers game on Sunday, where like after they won, like it was only them celebrating, so it's like kind of awkward.
So awkward, bro. J.R. Smith was already shirtless, bro.
Bro, they left old boy at the finals. I'm trying to think. The team bus left him.
The team bus.
I think he got on J.R. Smith's Instagram and was like, "You guys left me."
What?
Speaking of celebrations, though, I think it is funny, you know, how the players are going to the stands and and nobody's there, bro. They got to get really creative with these celebrations now.
Honestly, my go-to celebration if I was a player in the Prem, and you know they do like the little fake people in the seats, I'd go sit with the fans every time.
Bro.
Like that's too good of a celebration not to do. Like
remove the cardboard.
For real.
Excuse me.
Or like autograph the cardboard.
Oh, bro.
That needs to be on like FIFA 21, bro. Like an edit with no crowd.
Imagine playing FIFA 21 and they give you the option for no crowd. That'd be like the most COVID related. Oh my gosh!
The players walk out with masks.
EA Sports, you heard it here first. We're waiting. Our
Nice.
people reach your people.
Safe in the game,
Awesome.
even virtually.
Let's move on a little bit to MLS. So Charlotte FC, we've been making moves recently, man. I seen that their Instagram and Twitter accounts are moving more, which I like. You know, that means that they're participating with people a little bit more. We signed our second player, Riley, who's playing in Birmingham now in England, and so I'm seeing them make moves. Someone I had on the show earlier said that we're gonna play a 0-0-2-0, which I thought was hilarious because we only have two players. And my thing is, what should be next? Should they continue to be recruiting and looking for good players, or is the next move to make a manager? Because I think a manager says a lot about a game, right? Because you have managers with different styles. You have some that are more defensive, some that are a little bit more offensive, and depending on the type of manager you have, like you can recruit a lot of players, but if they're not to the style of the manager, then like
It's useless.
yeah. So I
Like-
want you guys to kind of give your thoughts. What do you think is more important right now?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I definitely feel like if we bring in a strong manager, strong like players are gonna follow.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of like if I'm gonna play for like an MLS team, it'd be nice to play under this coach or like know like a little bit of background about this coach and have a decent record because you know a manager's a leader. You know, they should be able to. I'm not gonna say like get results week in and week out with bad quality players, but you know, a good manager makes do with what they have, and you know. A lot of the time, some of the great managers in history, like Sir Alex Ferguson, like whenever he came to Man United, like he didn't have like the star-studded team he had like in the 2000s.
Yeah.
So-
True. I just wanted to add on to that because that's a good point that you bring up, because like when you think of like good managers, like the first thing you notice is what they do with the team that they have, right? Like when Jurgen Klopp came to Liverpool, he took us to 2 finals that very first year, and you can see that he was playing some progressive soccer. we didn't win anything and we finished 8th, but everybody was happy and content because they saw progression. I think I see the same thing with Mikel Arteta at Arsenal. Like, okay, they won a cup, and you can kind of see some positive things going on, and I think that that's similar in terms of when you're looking for a good coach. So, but the problem is, right now we have the opportunity to bring in a coach, and he can kind of give his mindset on what kind of players that he wants to bring in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like whenever you get that job as a manager, you know, it's your number one priority. You obviously have to plan for the season, and you know, especially I imagine it's pretty difficult for a new coming expansion team because, like you said, we have 2 players. So it's like I don't know what kind of formation you can really run with 2 players or what you. Bro, that's gonna be Wolves at the weekend because all their players are Portuguese. So. But yeah, I definitely think a manager is probably, I'm not going to say it's more important than the players, but like I said, if you bring a good manager, I think that he'll have good judgment and choose good players and put together an ideal team.
To be honest, I'm kind of surprised they haven't found one yet. I mean, especially with this being the first team, the inaugural team. You want to set that foundation. You want that identity, you know. And I think Charlotte FC definitely has to find its identity quick. You know, it's not going to be a NYFC. It's not going to be a LA United. It's not going to be a Inter Miami FC. They had David Beckham. They got money. It's Miami. He was able to bring in Matuidi, Higuain, because one, it's Beckham. 2, it's Miami. 3, they got money. Like, what more do you want? You know what I'm saying? So I think Charlotte FC really has to figure out what they're going to be good at. And I think in order to do that, you have to have a manager. I'm honestly kind of astounded that they haven't found one yet. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I agree with that because it's like how you're touching on Miami. You know, it's like, you know, you have nightlife. You get to come, like, pretty much play under David Beckham. So, I mean, it's an interesting experience, especially for players who are, like, coming from the best leagues in the world. And it's like I really couldn't pick, like, a better team to choose to come play for because you're going to have an ideal lifestyle on and off the field.
Yeah.
You know.
The one good thing that I think that we have that, like, a lot of MLS clubs haven't had in the past is that we're backed by a billionaire. You know, David Tepper, he kind of pushed us through to the front to get that MLS bid because, honestly, we weren't ready for it. Raleigh was ready for it, and we kind of scooped it off of them. Which, hey, I don't mind because I don't think this show would existed if it wasn't for David Tepper. So, appreciate it, bro.
That's fair. I mean, but I'm not sure how much David Tepper, and while he does have all that money, I'm not sure how much he knows about soccer. You know, and all the money in the world, that's gonna be great. But at the same time, like, they need a little bit more than just Cookout to really ring them in. You know what I'm saying? That Cookout trays, you know, it's a start, but we got to sweeten the deal a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
100%, man.
I mean, but I got to admit, though, Tepper came in whenever he bought the Panthers, and he was like, I'm going to bring an MLS team. He stood by his word. Yeah. He bought the MLS team. Exactly, because a lot of people, whenever they buy sports teams, like, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And half the time, whenever they're like a year or two into their ownership, nothing happens. The team stays the same. Yeah, exactly. You want a soccer team? We got you. We got you.
I got a question for y'all, though. So, MLS is expanding, right?
Yes.
Why do you feel like MLS hasn't adopted the relegation promotion style, especially since Charlotte Independence has already been planted here? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of teams haven't.
Well, it's mostly because we have, like, a younger league. And we've only been in existence for 25 years. And, like, most of these clubs are run by investors. LAFC has a whole bunch of investors, and if you go out of the MLS, they lose a lot of money, right? And so our league just isn't, there's not enough teams around where we can actually do a promotion and a relegation, which I think in the future it would benefit, but you need more teams like Charlotte Independence to grow. You need more of these USL teams to grow a little bit more, and us to have, because like in England, like the smallest clubs could technically go up, but most likely they're not going to go up. So it's a similar thing here. I think short term is going to benefit us, but in the long run it won't. But I think if they if soccer continues to be a watch sport in the U.S. and the smaller leagues grow, then it would be a good time to implement it.
It's weird because you always have like those like small like niche clubs that are like in random parts of the United States, like what's like Phoenix FC or something. They like Drogba playing for them. Bro, like you're Phoenix FC and you got Didier Drogba playing for you. Like never in a million years.
Okay,
like
you say that, but Phoenix has like twice the population of Charlotte. Don't forget that.
I mean, but they were a USL team, and he was playing for them in the USL. So you go from Champions League, and I'm gonna go to Phoenix. Not anywhere like pretty cool. I'm going to Phoenix. And I'm gonna play.
To account that he's like 42, so like it's not like
So you're telling? Oh yeah, that is very true. He did go to Montreal for a little bit. I did forget about that, but that's still pretty cool though. Like my small hometown Phoenix club has Didier Drogba playing for it. Imagine that.
Imagine being a player though. Like soccer is your whole life, and then like you're kind of at the end of it, but you still kind of got opportunity to kind of play. You're not playing super competitive, but you're still playing, so you're like, okay, like I don't need the money, but I still want to play. Like how many people go to like strikers and pay to play, you know what I'm saying? And nobody's like a professional. So imagine these guys that they're in their 40s and they're still getting offered contracts. Like I kind of understand.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt. Like Drogba said, I'm riding payday until I can't anymore.
100%.
Like and it's just pretty cool because it's a lot of players, I imagine obviously he didn't sign to him just for the money.
Yeah.
Like he still wanted to play, but his body I imagine probably wouldn't allow him to play at a competitive level or get the minutes he wants.
Yeah.
Due to his age. So I feel like it's pretty interesting that like he did take that opportunity to go to like a smaller USL club.
Yeah.
And then just kind of guide them to great things, but also have fun at the same time. Because a lot of times you can't really have that combination of both.
Yeah, which is I think the combination of like young youthful players and like kind of players ready to retire is great here in the MLS. Somebody made a point to me like our league is kind of has the perception that it's like a retirement league, but like someone was like, if you really think about it, there's 5 or 6 superstars that are about to retire in our league. Everybody else is like, I think the average age is like 24. And I was like, that makes sense. And they're like, hey, like Rooney's playing in the 2nd division, and no one says that the championship. Yeah, like no one's saying that. No one's calling that a retirement league. And I'm like, you know what? That's a great point, bro. I didn't think about that.
I don't know. I don't 100% agree that it is a retirement league, but I can see where they're coming from.
Yeah.
I mean, like we just finished talking about, we didn't get Didier Drogba in his prime.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And while Rooney went back home,
yeah,
so that comparison's kind of off the table because he's going home,
Yeah, but when he came to DC United, in your mind, you already think, okay, homeboy's done. He's coming to collect a check.
Since he was like 23.
but then he goes back to the championship, and you don't think that same way anymore, right? So that's kind of like that's where I kind of see the difference. Where like, okay, that makes sense. When he comes here, he's about to retire. He goes back to 2nd division England. Okay, he's not retiring.
Well, not necessarily.
But he's still the same age, same player.
But not necessarily retiring, but he's definitely not in his peak.
Correct.
Not in his peak. But, could you imagine, like, you're starting one season here in the United States, like DC United, a striker. Next thing you know, we're signing Wayne Rooney. Sorry, bro, you're on the bench, bro. Could you imagine that, bro?
Yeah, that's
like,
crazy.
I'm not gonna lie. I would know I'd get my starting position back in like 3 years. I'm on a 3-year vacation,
bro. Like, I'd be so mad. I'd be like, I mean, yeah, it's Wayne Rooney, but like, I'm not starting, bro.
But also, like, I feel like he went back to Derby. I feel like he went back to Derby because they offered him like a player manager position, and I feel like he probably, I imagine, if he's gonna take that position, he wants to go into management. And I mean, he's gonna
like Vincent Kompany in Belgium.
Yeah, like and I feel like it's a great experience to be able to play both parts.
Yeah,
like I'm a manager, but also I guess you can sub me in at the same time.
It's so weird, bro.
I'm about to go tell them what formation to run. Put me in.
Yo, if you don't play, I'm about to take your spot.
And I don't really play anymore.
Nice. So staying in England then, man, we've got the Premier League, and so there's some very, very interesting games this weekend that I am super excited about, especially that Merseyside derby. You got Everton playing Liverpool It's at 7:30 a.m. I gotta be at work at 9, so your boy's definitely about to be late. And you also have Man City versus Arsenal, and so you've got some really good, juicy games this weekend because I think Everton is on the up. Obviously, they're top of the league right now, but I mean it's 4 games in, so like that to me doesn't mean anything.
I mean,
And then you got Arsenal, who they look like they're doing some good things, man. They've won 3 out of their four first games. They lost to us, of course. But that's a team that I see on the up. You also got your Tottenhams and teams like that. But these 2 games I want us to touch a little bit on. So I kind of want your thoughts on that.
I mean, Tottenham's not going to win no silverware this year. They never win
I
silverware.
literally,
They never win silverware. I just don't understand. Like, how can you never win a trophy, like, year in and year out? And you pump so much money into this club. Like, that's just the one thing that really, like, blows my mind. But I'm not going to lie. It's only, like, a couple games into the season, but this is the first time Everton's been, like, first in the league since I can remember.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, like, it stinks because this would be a great Merseyside derby, sorry. I butchered that word. But because the fans, I feel like if you had the fans there, the teams right now are great. You know, usually in the past it's been, obviously Liverpool's going to, like.
It's kind of like in the 80s when it was like, that's when Everton kind of bagged a couple of trophies. Liverpool was on the up, so they were kind of challenging for 1 and 2, and then they kind of dipped in form. We won a couple more, and then we kind of went obscure for a good 30 years where we won like big titles on and off. But yeah.
I'm kind of excited. Like you said, I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill, but Everton's in first, Aston Villa's sitting number 2, Leicester City's number 3.
7-2.
Like
4 games in.
7-2.
Yes, but how crazy would it be if Everton ties Liverpool? Man, what would that say about the team that Everton has? Right?
I mean,
I want to see that.
I mean, bro, you went from. I'd be kind of scared if I was Liverpool. I got thrashed by a team that celebrated not getting relegated last year. Getting thrashed 7. Was it 7-2?
7-2. But honestly,
Like, I would really be scared. Like,
if I wanted to lose 7-2, this would be the best time. 4th game into the season, because you know what? This is when Klopp can say, "Okay, show us why you're really champions, right?" And all those players, you know, they're all waiting for this game because they know like everybody is watching them. And so I think the difference between Everton and Liverpool is that Everton has Liverpool has consistency behind them. Yeah. They've played title-winning football. Everton, there are 4 games where they've won and everybody's hyping them up. So there's a big difference there. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't understand the pressure of being on top and consistently being on top. Plus, they just came back from an international break, right? Like, you've got their best players are what? James, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Decore, all these guys. And James and Dominic Calvert-Lewin are coming back. James is coming from Colombia. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's coming back with the England squad. So, like, our players, I feel like, are more adapt to, okay, coming back from international tournament, let's get game time again, boom, England League. You know, which I don't know, like, I haven't seen Everton enough to say, okay, these guys have the mentality to go from playing internationally to going back into the Prem, because most of the time you kind of see that lag after the international tournament. So I want to see what they do, because I love when people hype teams up like this, and then when we smash them 3-0 this weekend, it's going to be amazing.
Hang on, I want to rewind. Did that man really just say, if we ever wanted to lose 7-2, this was the time?
Yeah.
7-2, bro. I can't remember the last time Newcastle got beat 7-2, bro.
I can't remember the last time Newcastle won a title.
Bro, I lose 5 and you got me there.
Or a Champions League.
Bro, we still got the dignity of not losing 7-2 to a team that almost got relegated last year.
Bro,
which trophy cabinet does that dignity go into?
Bro, I go down like I go down by 1 or 2 points in FIFA, and I'm turning that thing off, man. Bro, like.
Yeah, but like this is kind of a weird season.
Big rage quit.
Man City got slapped 5-2. Man U got slapped 6-1.
It's so weird. Like it's like a.
So it's not like okay, this is
like
a Liverpool
down
thing. This is like whole league thing.
But that's what I'm saying though. So like such weird things are already happening. Why let it stop now? You know what if Everton does come out on top 2-0? You know what I'm saying? How wild would that be?
Don't get me wrong. They have a shot of winning, but I think people are looking at it like, yo, like this team is about to like do something. I don't think it's like that.
Oh no. They're not. No one's saying they're gonna,
Win the title.
No,
But it's just hard not at this point. It's really hard not to like have any type of like
you love an underdog.
like
you
like
do.
a goal for them in mind, just because this is the best season that they've started off with. And granted, like you said, it's only 4 games in, but I mean they're undefeated so far. So I mean it's
4 games in.
Yeah, but I mean still 4 games in.
Crystal Palace was 4th, 12 games in last season. Where did they end up?
They got Eberici Eze this year, my guy. So they might finish top 8.
And you got to think. I mean, honestly, I'd love to see. Who's the manager of Everton? His name slips.
Ancelotti.
Yeah. I'd love to see what he has planned, because you mentioned Arsenal, how they look like they're on the up, like they're making moves.
Yeah.
And I don't want to jump the gun, but I am hopeful that maybe Everton is making moves in the right direction.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
I mean, they are. I mean, they're signing good players. They have a world-class coach. They've got a world-class player in James, if he could stay fit,
If.
And that's a big if. And I just the thing that I think when it comes to soccer, when it comes to management, is like very fine margins, right? Like, because Mikel Arteta won the FA Cup, there's a positivity around the club. Like, okay, this coach can bring in trophies, right? And that's like a good seed that other players that you can use. Versus now, if you look at Lampard, he is under some heavy pressure because he's played 2 finals and lost them both, and his team isn't up to par with the signings that they have. So those are really fine margins in soccer, which you start doubting these coaches. You start saying, okay, like, is Frank Lampard really the guy to coach the superstars, right?
Okay, hang on. They beat a Chelsea team who played 3 matches in 7 days. Arsenal injured Pulisic and Azpilicueta in the first half. Like,
Dude,
come on, man. You.
Are you talking about the FA Cup final?
Yeah, the FA Cup final,
Yeah.
bro. Like,
Okay, but
it's a weekend, and it's a hurt Chelsea team. 3 matches in a week. Like, okay, calm down now.
I mean, but at the same time, it's like these major signings that you've made, they have no Premier League experience.
right.
they have.
So they have to, and I mean, I'm not gonna say they're gonna be terrible at all. Like Warner and Havertz are clash, but coming to the EPL, even Havertz said it himself.
Yeah.
Like, this is a different ball game. Like, and I'm not saying they're not going to be good, but it's the players that Lampard was pulling from, and he had. They had English playing experience at least.
Yeah.
Mason Mount playing in the championship. The championship is one of the most physical leagues in the world. I'd even say almost more physical than the Premier League.
I would agree.
Because these people are going for the
it's
top.
less,
Like,
and
that's their
in
last
the championship,
chance.
there's like less talent too. Like, it's more like work ethic.
Exactly.
More of your Milners.
Challenges,
Yeah.
like left and right.
Of course, and no one's saying they're coming into a new environment, but I feel like if anyone's going to help them adapt, it's going to be Frank Lampard, a midfielder who played in one of the physicalist, in my opinion, one of the physicalist eras of the EPL.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like,
No VAR.
bro, right?
No VAR.
VAR did not exist, bro. Like, you can't get away with some of the stuff you did back then.
Yeah.
So I feel like if anyone's going to help him, or help these younger guys adapt, and don't forget, we brought in the goalkeeper Mendy too, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be Lampard.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm just saying that, like, I'm just giving perspective on like the fine margins in soccer, right? Because if you start getting, like, even with Kepa, like, it was okay, 1 error, then like they started criticizing it, then they continued, and I feel like that mentally gets to you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure. Kepa, if anything was from outside of the box, Kepa's not stopping it. There's a reason why I imagine they try to get so many bodies in front of the ball. Like, and it stinks because you're right. Like, you make 1 error, but that's just the life of goalkeeping.
Yeah.
Period. And, at the end of the
Yeah. So say Frank can't get this team in the top 4 the first season, and or say we're halfway through the season and they're 8th and 9th, like, he's gonna get criticized heavily, right? So like there's that added pressure. You brought in all these stars, but like, okay, like, now we got to see if you're a really good coach, because last season we're like, okay, like he got top 4 with no signings and bringing up youth players and players from the championship, and you're like, okay, like, what can he do now with stars? Like now you question. Like I think that's like a soccer thing. You question things all the time. Like even like Jurgen Klopp is getting questioned now as a coach. And I'm like, come on, yo. Like he's playing a high line. He's trying something different. Like relax. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is still early in the season as well.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, but I'm not gonna lie. Like Frank Lampard, he last year I feel like he excelled not only because the signings that he did, not no signings, but the players that he was able to pull up. They had good loan experience. Not only that, but the most important thing that a lot of managers come under scrutiny for is like no results, no pressure. And he literally had no pressure.
Yeah.
Like, so at that same time, he was able to play a lot more relaxed, I feel like.
Yeah.
And then opposed to now, like, you make all these massive signings, there's going to be a lot more added pressure opposed to last season.
Yeah.
So I feel like he can't play, like, as free-flowing as before.
Yeah.
And by free-flowing, I'm just saying, like, without, like a burden on his back, basically.
That's such a double-edged sword, right? Like, okay, like, no one was expecting anything from you last season, and you did something. Now that you have good players, you better produce.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think about like the Arsenal Man City game? Who do you see winning that?
I'll let you go first, bro.
I gotta go Arsenal. It's nice because it's like Guardiola Senior versus Guardiola Junior, father versus son. Exactly. We're about to see who ultimately, and it's crazy because after Arteta left. Like, I'm not going to say, obviously, like, Arteta was this mastermind that somehow, like, produced all these results. I was 100% Pep. But if you notice, after Arteta left, like, something left Manchester City.
Yeah.
And I feel
Did you see, like, when he was talking to, like, the bench by himself? Did you ever see that? Like, Guardiola's, like, going like this. I was like, yo, this man lost his best boy.
They grow up too fast.
That was the funniest thing. I was like, who's he talking to right now?
I gotta find the clip for that.
Oh, man. Yeah. What do you think, Andrew?
I mean, so like we just finished saying, I think Pep is under a lot of scrutiny. Like we said, it's that double-edged sword. Yeah, he's accomplished a lot, but soccer is a very present-minded sport, I think. And I think you hit it right on the nail. You past accomplishments, Jurgen Klopp, after all he's achieved, still under the under the microscope, every little thing, every scrutiny.
Which I'd rather have it like that than us be irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's 100%
Liverpool was
true.
irrelevant till about 2013, 2014. 2015 when Klopp started taking it and like, oh, okay, they're getting into Champions Leagues. Oh, okay, like now the team is okay. Now we're top dog again. Mm-hmm. So
the amount of Liverpool fans just skyrocketed after that.
They really did, bro. I feel like everybody. I was like, where were you guys at when we had Balotelli up top?
Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm gonna be really butthurt if that happens in Newcastle. I'm gonna like fact check everybody I see in Newcastle shirt. Like,
well, I mean, like if it's like I don't know, like I would give a pass if it's kids like under 17 or something, right? Because like that's when I became a Liverpool fan,
right?
So I'm like, okay, like these kids or like people that are just getting into soccer. The thing I hate the most is like, especially like Americans when they get into soccer, like when they see players at Everton or Tottenham, they start supporting these teams. And I'm like, oh God, I'm sorry for you. You're not gonna see them win anything.
Oh yeah, no. Like the thing is, like, Newcastle might not like come close to any of that, but at the same time, I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about that heartbreak. Yeah, it's all about. I know we're not gonna win a trophy, but the real honor is staying up in the Premier League.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're seeing a real fan right here.
For real. So
been since day one.
if they get taken over and they start buying great players, we'll know you've been a real one since day one, man.
Oh yeah, dude.
Boom.
I love it.
Nice. Well, cool. That concludes episode 3 of the Top Bin 90 show, guys. Thank you so much for coming on.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Always a pleasure.